Arnab Goswami on the debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by Softovac and Ganesh Atta.
Good evening and welcome. In response to our continuing investigation into Sushant's death, thousands have been contacting me and my colleagues across the Republic Media Network and the news desk. First of all, I'm overwhelmed. I'm grateful for your overwhelming support, and I'm also grateful to many of you who have offered leads. One thing I can say with certainty today, the Mumbai police has made a massive mistake by trying to cover this up as a suicide without a basic investigation. They should be ashamed of the line of investigation they appear to have been taking. Since yesterday, the research and investigating teams at Republic have in fact been digging further. Tonight, Sushant's last film is being premiered, and sentiments are overflowing. But this is not just about emotion now. This is about facts paving the way for justice. My team and I have done investigations earlier, viewers. We are experienced at this. The Sunanda case. And I still have no doubt that Sunanda was murdered. The Sheena Bora case. And I can say this today with certainty to you, this one is bigger. This one is much murkier. And this one, viewers, is even more entrenched in the collective guilt of these lobbies. These lobbies, viewers, you and I will destroy together. We have three big debates as part of our continuing investigation. Debate number one, justice for Sushant. Let's say it out loudly as we ask more direct questions. A cover-up will not be tolerated. I have Shekhar Suman joining me right now in a few minutes on the debate. He's been fighting for this as well. At 10 o'clock on Debate 2 today, we have an explosive dossier which has stunned the Congress into silence. Their hypocrisy and corruption in Rajasthan is just unbelievable. And there's debate number 3 tonight on how the anti-Mandir lobby was shown the door. And there is nothing that's going to come in the way of the foundation stone laying ceremony on the 5th of August. All this and more is coming up. And here are the headlines this Friday evening on the Debate Tonight. Republic TV's unrelenting coverage is resonating all across India. Justice for Sushant has become a national and international rallying point.
मुंबई पुलिस जो है वो जांच कर रही है. अगर उससे बेहतर अगर जांच हो सके तो होना चाहिए. अगर आप सीबीआई मांग कराना चाहें तो हम उसकी मांग कर सकते हैं.
Everyone's questioning the Mumbai police. More and more are demanding a CBI investigation. 40 days after Sushant's death, questions on a cover-up are staring the Mumbai police in the face.
हो सकता है कि पूरी प्रदेश की जनता अगर राजभवन को घेरने के लिए आ गई तो हमारी जिम्मेदारी नहीं होगी.
After laying siege to the Raj Bhavan, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot openly threatens the governor. Rajasthan exposes stuns the Congress into silence. Big debate on conflict charge at 10 p.m. tonight. Setback after setback for the lobby. The petition to derail the Mandir Bhumi Pujan dismissed by the Allahabad High Court. And all eyes on Yogi Adityanath's Ayodhya visit as India continues to count down to the Ram Mandir construction. Ladies and gentlemen, today Sushant Singh Rajput's last film Dil Bechara premiered on an OTT platform. For millions of his fans, it was not just an emotional moment. It was also a turning point in the fight for justice. Now, any attempt at a cover-up in the investigation will not be tolerated. It will be the greatest betrayal to Sushant's memory. Tonight, as the demand for a CBI investigation becomes a national demand, here are 18 questions that cannot and will not be left unanswered. Let's debate.
His last film hit the OTT platform, leaving his fans overwhelmed. And as the world watched Sushant Singh Rajput's last performance, the focus is increasing on the loopholes in the current investigation of the Mumbai police. Just hours after Sushant Singh Rajput was found dead in his rented apartment in Mumbai's Bandra area on the 14th of June, the police declared it was prima facie a case of suicide.
एक्टर सुशांत सिंह राजपूत जो है अपेरेंटली अभी उन्होंने सुसाइड कमिट किया है, ये जानकारी मिली है।
How and why did the police call it a suicide? Those who've seen pictures from the crime scene have said that there was an O-shaped ligature mark on Sushant's neck, which is mostly seen in cases of strangulation. There was no suicide note recovered from Sushant's house. The first autopsy report simply mentions asphyxia as a cause of death, which can also be caused due to strangulation. Those present in the house on the day of the death claim Sushant had fruit juice in the morning. Were traces of fruit juice found in the viscera report? And purely based on Sushant's medical records, can the police conclusively prove that it is a case of suicide due to depression? The investigation raised eyebrows from day one. There were questions raised on if the police filed a case of unnatural death as mentioned under CRPC 174. Was crucial evidence from Sushant's house mixed up? Was the scene of crime not sealed immediately? And was there a scope for possible tampering of evidence? Was there a 23-day delay in collecting CCTV footage? And was there a party a night before his death, as several reports suggest? As of now, the line of investigation adopted by the Mumbai police includes recording of statements from members of the film industry. Over 40 have been questioned so far, including his girlfriend Riya Chakravarti, filmmaker Aditya Chopra, film critic Rajiv Masand.
Why Mumbai police is not summoning Aditya Chopra, Karan Johar, Rajiv Masand, Mahesh Bhatt? These 4 people. Why? Because they're powerful.
With questions being raised over the current investigation, the demand for a CBI probe is getting louder.
जैसा कंगना ने भी कहा, लड़की बहुत अच्छी लड़की है, बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है, बहुत सेल्फ मेड है, मैं उसकी बहुत कदर करता हूं। और आपने कहा तो मैं समझता हूं कि ये सीबीआई के लिए केस बनता है। उसको मैं भी रेकमेंड करता हूं, दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी करने के लिए सीबीआई को केस देना चाहिए।
With just rounds and rounds of questioning, there are no answers or clarification from the Mumbai police on the allegations of a cover-up.
सब लोग चाहते हैं कि जल्द से जल्द क्या कारण है इसका पता चले, और अगर मुंबई पुलिस अगर सक्षम नहीं है तो बेहतर अगर हो तो सीबीआई जांच भी हो सकता है।
Is an unbiased investigation from a central agency imperative for justice for Sushant Singh Rajput? Let's debate.
Joining me first is actor Shekhar Suman, who has been one of the leading voices demanding justice for Sushant and calling for a CBI investigation. Shekhar, you know, over the last 1 week, I just said that I've been overwhelmed at the response and the support that the Justice for Sushant movement has been getting. And this happened just around the time when you have been one of the most vocal asking for justice. You went to Patna, and then at one point you said the family is not speaking up much on their own and let other people now take over. Have you seen the events over the last 1 week, and as one of the first people to raise their voice very loudly in this case, what do you make of the tremendous national movement that has now started?
I mean, this was inevitable. This was bound to happen. But before I say anything or speak out or unravel or reveal, I just thought that I will start on a high note. But I'm deeply saddened right now, almost feeling melancholic and listless, and engulfed with a sense of ennui, because I'm just in the midst of watching Sushant Singh Rajput's swan song, his farewell film, Dil Bichara. And it's almost ironical that the film deals with the tragedy of Ek Tha Raja, Ek Thi Rani, Dono Mar Gaye, Khatam Kahani. It's difficult to come to terms with the fact that this guy who manifested a joie de vivre, who was, pulsating, who was throbbing, who was so buoyant, is no more. And my wife was weeping inconsolably. And she said, why am I connecting with this guy so much? And I said, this happens when you connect with a beautiful soul. So I'm happy also, because it's a momentous day. I'm sure that Sushant is watching from above, and the heavens are smiling on him. His last film is a beautiful film, and that I just hope, and I'm sure that this turned out to be a monumental success and probably turned out to be a pièce de résistance in his career posthumously.
I haven't seen, of course, it just premiered today, I'm told, and I look forward to watching it myself.
Yes, you must.
But in a way, isn't it remarkable, Shekhar,
Absolutely.
that
Yes.
through his art and through his craft and through his talent and through his genius and
He's
through
touched so many lives.
through his work, he has answered all the lobbies in Bollywood who plotted against him and ran him down and mocked him and tried to isolate him. You know, so through his art, he has given them a resounding response.
Yes.
Don't you think, Shekhar?
Arnab, first of all, let me congratulate you. You're doing a fabulous job. And this is for the first time ever that I'm speaking to you. And it's such a privilege talking to you. I, first and foremost, at the very outset, wish to thank you from the depths of my heart on behalf of the entire nation and millions and countless fans of Sushant Singh Rajput, you know, who would be sending their blessings to you. I think you have, you know, you have been so aggressive. You have been so persuasive. You have been so unequivocally vociferous and persistent. And I think that this whole movement has acquired a whole new meaning, and the credence and the credibility that you have given it. We are so happy. I'm so happy
Shekhar,
that you have taken up the cudgels on our behalf for such a noble and emotional cause.
Shekhar,
Thank you so much.
Just quick response to that, Shekhar. One, I am only doing my job. Secondly, I live in Mumbai, but I have no vested interests, you know that. Thirdly, you know, when I launched Republic, I said we must just speak for the people, and I felt that there were a lot of people who were not being heard, and I think they need to be heard. So now, can I come to the substantive part of it? Substantive part of it was, Shekhar, you went to Patna. You met Sushant's father. You met the chief minister. You obviously there is something that did not add up for you. When I'm investigating this matter, you know, Shekhar, what comes across to me is, sorry, but this is my gut feel. It cannot be suicide. This is my gut feel. It is something much bigger at play out here, because, you know, there are too many questions that come to me as an investigative journalist in this case. But what was playing in your mind? Do you think there's something else at play?
You know, I'm not a forensic expert or a criminologist. I'm not even, you know, close to that. But I wish to first of all thank the person who mysteriously, surreptitiously, though illegally, sent out Sushant's photographs post his death, and that led to everything. I mean, you know, if probably that had not surfaced, we all probably would have just believed the narrative that was preset. Having seen those photographs and those ligature marks, which clearly indicated, and thereby all the prima facie evidences that surfaced and resurfaced, and so many of that, it was, you know, it just, everything else in the beginning seemed, you know, conjectural, but it became more and more clear and more evident that it was an act of premeditated, cold-blooded murder. You know, it cannot be denied. And so all those evidences that we are talking about, right from the CCTV footage missing, forensic experts turning late, the duplicate key, where did they get a locksmith during this COVID-19 time?
Impossible. For an electronic key, impossible. We live in Mumbai, impossible. In lockdown on a Sunday, impossible, yes.
And the changing versions of the servant. In one of the videos, you can see a guy running with a bag. There's so many suspicious events all around it, you know. It cannot possibly be a suicide. It cannot. And first and foremost, I had said it, and I'm repeating it again and again. If Sushant had committed suicide, he would have definitely left a suicide note. He has, for somebody who was so cheerful, somebody who was, you know, presumably partying, who gets up in the morning, is, you know, playing PlayStation, is asked for a glass of juice and suddenly decides to take his own life, is absolutely impossible. Even if you look at the backstory, the man was just full of beans. He's so cheerful. He's so, you know, he's a very positive guy. He's self-motivated, and you can see the glow on his face. Why would he end his life? So, you know,
there is this whole attempt, Shekhar. There is this whole attempt, Shekhar. First of all, I want to thank you for speaking up. You know, I want to thank all people who, while being in this industry, are speaking up. And I want you to know, viewers, that for Shekhar Suman to come out and speak up, you need guts, because, the moment you speak up, you're one among a very small group of people who are speaking up, and he's standing up to be counted. So we must be grateful for him for that. Now, going back to the issue at hand, you spoke about the ligature marks. Up the ligature mark around the neck, it was apparently of strangulation, not of hanging.
Absolutely.
And I also had others contact me yesterday saying he went for a jog that morning. Now, some people say you've got a version that you got up at a particular time, asked for juice. Why is the police accepting one version? Why are they accepting the version of the people who were inside the house so readily? And the second question is, how can the drank juice and committed suicide theory be taken at face value? The narrative is being spread. He woke up in the morning, he had a glass of juice at 10, then he went back to his room and locked it from inside. Whose narrative is this, Shekhar? Whose narrative is this, Shekhar? How can it be taken at face value? Your guess is as
good as mine. I mean, it baffles me. It beats me to think that, why is the police procrastinating? Why is there, an interminable delay? And I have never heard of a suicide case extending for 40 days without, with us all groping in the dark, without a clue of what's happening inside, what's going on. I mean, a suicide case, if it was an open and shut case, it would have the file would have been closed. Why have they just, why is it lingering? What is there? Why are they being so cagey, and why are they being so reticent about it? I don't understand. And who's setting all these narratives? We need to understand that there are a couple of minds that are very sharp minds working behind it, and obviously
who were the minds? Who were the minds, Shekhar? Shekhar,
yes.
Think about it. Who were the minds who had also set a narrative in the Sheena Bora case? Who were the minds who were the minds who gave a certain narrative, in the Sunanda Pushkar case? Who are these minds? Always we find very professional minds. And sometimes the police itself wants to push a certain theory. Now, you are right, the strangulation raises the presumption of homicide. Why are we not talking about who killed Sushant? Now, the argument being made is, why did Sushant kill himself? Well, how do you know he killed himself? I'd say one thing gut instinct to you. You're an actor, right? You're an actor, right? Now, there are days when we have highs and lows in all professions.
Absolutely.
And in your acting career, hasn't there been a time when you've been pushed back?
Yes.
You started in your 20s with Utsav at a young age.
Times.
Haven't you been pushed back? Haven't you been mocked? When you did your TV shows, were you not mocked? Did people not push you back for your background? And then what did you do as a creative person? As a creative person, what you do is you go and say, I'm going to fight back. I'm going to give my best shot in my next film. I'm going to silence all those people. I really feel, I haven't seen this film, but if it is what you are describing it to be, then I think Sushant was giving Dil Bechara his best shot. He was a fighter. This is not, why would he give his best shot? If he had even remote thoughts of suicide, it just doesn't add up, Shekhar. Doesn't add up.
Nothing adds up. Nothing adds up. Everything is so nebulous. We are just being misdirected, and everything is just so also scattered. I think that there is a vicious attempt to kind of divert our mind somewhere else. Why are they so insistent in the first place that it was a suicide? How could the cops just go and say it's a suicide? Why couldn't they say in the first place, it appears to be a suicide? It might be a suicide. We will investigate that and we will let you know. Why were they in a hurry? There's so many things that were hurriedly sort of done, which have no answers.
Because
and I'm going to share. Yes.
Yeah, go on. Please share.
I'm horrified at even all the other deaths that have happened, and most of them are probably murders, and they have just been buried. I mean, in Sheena Bora's case, all of us thought that she had gone to America. It was after years that somebody squealed, somebody ratted and spilled the beans that we came to know, my God, that she has been murdered, and how it was a heinous crime, and that she was buried out there, where somebody actually did a recce of that place and buried her there. I mean, the case was, for all practical purposes, was closed. But then it was reopened. We are not going to allow them to shut this case without a CBI inquiry. This is going to be a persistent demand. We're going to shout from our rooftop.
Oh, yeah.
Shout ourselves hoarse and
oh, yes, we will.
To you.
Oh, yes, we will.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
I tell you what, when I was giving these interviews, somebody said, and even when I was in Patna, would you like to name the coterie, the caucus that you're talking about? There is a mob, a ferocious. These are a pack of wolves, who would not stop at anything. They are, and they are dangerous. So they said, would you name them? And I said, I'm familiar with the names, and I would love to name them. But I'm not scared for myself. I'm scared for my son. When he started off on a very promising note, he was just sort of relegated to the background and almost thrown to the bin. And today, I don't have the proof. Secondly, if I divulge the names, then I can assure you that you don't want yet another case of an unsolved murder mystery of a young lad who was intimidated, threatened, and was pushed to the periphery to the extent that he hanged himself to death under mysterious circumstances. You wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. I have lost one son. I don't want to lose another.
Shekhar, I know where you're coming from, and
Yes.
there's one thing I want to share with you. I saw an interview, and people get so personal in this industry. They were even mocking Adhayan. What's his name? What does this mean? What kind of name is it? I mean, you saw that?
You don't. Yes, he's been through hell.
Yeah.
He has, there is, obviously we're going to concentrate on Sushant today. That's going to be another story, but it's horrifying. The day I will sit and I will talk to you about what they did with Adhayan, what happened to him. There was another Sushant in the making. I mean, he had suicidal thoughts. I mean, he was pushed to the dark alleys where he felt so helpless that he wanted to end his life. This is what they do to newcomers. This is what they do to talent. Your own talent becomes your nemesis, and which is horrifying. I'll talk about that, but right now, as I said, coming back to all the evidence, all the facts, I think it's very unjustified.
So may I make a personal request to you? I know this was a one-on-one. You stay on, okay? Don't go away. I'm going to have a debate now because that's the sequence of my program. But I want you to stay on. At any point of time you want to come into the debate, you can raise your hand. Right? You don't mind doing that for me?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know I'm taking you away from seeing that film, but you will be able to pause it and go back to it. It's all for a good cause, Shekhar. So Shekhar Suman, hats off to you, and we are going to have that longer conversation too. I want to welcome some guests. Shekhar will stay on the screen. And Shekhar, let me tell you, today on my program, in some time, I am expected to be joined by the parents of Jia Khan will also join me today on my program. Right? Rabia Khan and Tipu, their loss is something.
Yes, of course.
There's so many questions over what happened to Jia. Okay, so let me welcome Neeraj Singh Babu. He's a BJP leader. He's Sushant's cousin brother. Neeraj ji, can you hear me? Can I see you on the screen, Neeraj ji? Can I have them on the screen? Thank you. Yeah, let me get the screen fixed once. Neeraj ji, can you hear me? Let's get everyone on, please. Thank you. Whoever I have, please. Can I get them on the screen, please? One sec. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, thank you. Neeraj, can you hear me? This is Neeraj Singh Babu. I have Dr. Razi Ahmed. Dr. Razi Ahmed, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, Arnab, I can hear you.
Okay. Dr. Razi Ahmed is an intensivist and an author. Swapnil Kothari, lawyer, is with me. I have with me Dr. Bhupesh. He's a forensic expert from Dubai. Dr. Bhupesh, are you there? Okay, so he's not there. So if I can be helped in identifying my guests out there. Seema Kushwaha is a lawyer. She's joining me from Delhi. She was involved in the Nirbhaya case. She was the Nirbhaya family lawyer. Advocate Shyam Keswani, PK Jain. Advocate Shyam Keswani from Mumbai, PK Jain, additional DGP Maharashtra, Manaswi Thapar and Vikas. Thank you very much. First of all, Dr. Razi Ahmed, you are a doctor and you are also well known, you knew Sushant. Can you first tell us how you knew Sushant? What was your association with?
Actually, in the year 2016, he was shooting at Ranchi for his movie MS Dhoni. And on the sets, he had fallen ill. He had some upper respiratory tract infection. And I was called to see him. So that is the point when I met him. And, that is how I met him. And I realized this is the guy. I mean, this is the guy who is so learned, so down to earth. And, it really shocks us that he's not among us right now.
Right. And how did you find him as a doctor, as a person? Did you find at any point of time this whole theory being sold in Mumbai that he was clinically depressed?
It just does not add up. It just does not add up. I mean, when I went to meet him, मुझे लगा था कि maybe he would throw some tantrum. He's a big star.
Yeah.
But the way he met me, and he even asked me for Dr. Abbas की fees कितनी है, and all that. And such a jolly person he was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nearly impossible to think that kind of person can, commit such kind of thing.
I'd like to bring in Swapnil Kothari with Advocate Shyam Keswani, PK Jain, into the debate right now. Since I spoke to you yesterday, PK Jain, Swapnil, you are on, and Advocate Shyam Keswani, please. Since we spoke yesterday, Swapnil, you watched my program yesterday as well. It is impossible. Everybody is now, this suicide theory seems laughable, but it was being pushed. And by the way, viewers, in the top right box are Rabia Khan and Tipu Thomas, who is better known as Tipu. They are parents of Jia Khan. I'd like to welcome them on the program. It's good for both of you to join me. I'll be with you in just a minute. Swapnil, since yesterday, the Justice for Sushant movement has become much bigger. Where do you think now the Mumbai police investigation is going? In my view, it's going nowhere.
Absolutely, Arnab, you are absolutely right. Mumbai police investigation is going nowhere. What I hate about this is that in Sunanda Pushkar case, the Delhi police investigation is perfunctory. In this particular Sushant Singh Rajput's case, the Mumbai police investigation is absolutely perfunctory. It is too casual. It is too hollow, in my opinion. There are several questions which I would like to ask. 50 SIM cards are being changed by Sushant Singh Rajput when he's receiving death threats. That's number one. Number two is the medical records are there on his bed when he's found dead. Why would he want to put his medical records of his depression? So that means it has been planted by someone to lead on to the theory of depression. It's all good to say that nepotism leads to depression, but that doesn't mean that depression would lead to suicide simply because the man he may have had a little bit of clinical depression if at all he did, and he was visiting a psychiatrist, but that means he shows the will to live. He wants to live. He wants to improve himself. He wants to make his mental health better, and he was partying in the night before, and then he went out for a jog or a walk in the morning, and then he asked for a pomegranate.
How do you know he went for a jog in the morning?
And wants to play a game at a PlayStation. Arnab, there are several reports, there are several servants who are there. There is in fact a house help of mine who works in my house. His friends used to work somewhere near his house and in his house, and they have seen that he used to go for his daily walk and a daily jog. Why aren't the police investigating them? Why aren't the police asking that servant who gave that pomegranate juice, and suddenly after that pomegranate juice the man has disappeared? He doesn't come out, he locks himself in his house. That's number one. That's in fact very bemusing more rather than amusing. And also one of the other things is that Arnab, when the phone is there in the custody of the police, after that his Twitter and Instagram accounts are hacked to show that he is following Mahesh Bhatt. Suddenly he is following Mahesh Bhatt after his death. And Riya Chakrabarti also deletes her photographs on Instagram prior to his death, 3 days prior to his death, and doesn't pick up his phone call. That may be a case that she may not picked up his phone call at 1:30 in the morning when he called the night before. That could be there. But I'm just saying that, and her expensive spends on the credit card, debit card, they need to be investigated. Arnab, what is this going on? To parade this as a suicide theory is to simply show and to bring in people to investigate.
But then the line of thinking yesterday that PK Jain, once the problem with PK Jain with the police is, it has begun to think that once it has got a case in its hand, it will decide where the case goes. And anybody who asks questions is crossing the line. Now, in this particular case, I think those fanciful thoughts of the Mumbai police will have to be kept at rest. The Mumbai police has done a disastrous investigation so far. It has tried to make this look like a reverse engineering of a suicide situation. And I can tell you today, You know, it's very easy for the Mumbai police to put a stamp on the suicide theory. If you want to know, then please hear from Jia's mother and a father. And with me on the debate today, viewers, are Rabia Khan and Tipu, parents of Jia Khan. And now, in the case of Jia, for those who may not be aware of the details, viewers, June 2013, Jia Khan, upcoming actress, was found hanging for 7 years. 7 years Rabia has been fighting for justice. It's a really lonely battle, let me tell you. And it's really difficult to fight the system here in Mumbai when the whole system is against you. I just want both of you to share what happened in your case. Because from the evidence at hand, even I don't believe, many of our viewers even today don't believe that Jia killed herself. Would you like to share something, please?
Yes. I have been fighting for 7.5 years, and we have given every evidence. We did more homework for police and CBI than they have done. And that has actually shocked them, because we have given every evidence, every forensic evidences, which clearly says that these injury marks are not consistent with the ligature. Even the post-mortem report does indicate all these injuries and the measurements of the ligature and everything. So my thing is to CBI, then reconstruct it. Reconstruct and see whether these injuries and these kind of measurements can come with this kind of ligature that was around Jia. Even in the High Court, the police was saying that it was a rope. And my counselor said, no, I'm sorry, Your Lord, it was a muslin dupatta. So, you know, they go to that extent of distorting the facts and evidence. My husband will tell you more about the forensic discrepancies that they have done, including with the JJ Hospital forensic doctor. They were looking for tailor-made reports, and they tried to get tailor-made reports. When the PGI forensic expert said that you show us the ligature, you show us the evidence and the crime scene pictures, we will conclude our report. They went to that extent that they put charge sheet and put inconclusive report and said it's a case of suicide. Tipu, you tell them about histopathology.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Arnab, you said it correctly earlier. You said this looks like a reverse-engineered suicide story. And it looks like a déjà vu from what's happening in Jia's case. It seems to be exactly the same pattern now in Sushant's case. And what happened in Jia's case, as we all know, the police had labeled the case a suicide from early on without any investigation. Even their own post-mortem doctors who had done the post-mortem and said all the injuries on Jia were ante-mortem. Yeah. In the police statement, the post-mortem doctor said that some of the injuries could be due to a blunt object with round margins. Now, how do you explain an injury from a blunt object with a soft dupatta? Well, of course, the police never bothered to find out what that blunt object could be. And up until now, in 7 years, no one has ever come up with a plausible and credible explanation for those injuries. And they said even the abrasions on Jia's neck would be caused by a hard object. So all of this is not explainable with a soft dupatta. Nevertheless, they called it a suicide. And then when CBI got involved, same story. CBI started out their investigation in September 2014. It took them until April 15, so 7 months, to even start doing some forensic investigation. The mandate the High Court had given to CBI was very precise. They said, find out whether this was a homicidal or suicidal case. And logically, what you first do is find out what the forensics are, and you treat the case as a homicide unless proven otherwise. If you can rule out homicide beyond every reasonable doubt, then the only remaining possibility by process of elimination could be a suicide. But again, it seems like they reverse-engineered a suicide story, and it's the evidence, or so-called evidence, fits their story. Just
Well, Tipu and Ravi, as I'm listening to you, every single point that you are making here today could be transposed on the Sushant Singh Rajput case.
Yes.
You know, I have this feeling, Rabia and Tipu, that's the sense I get. And I want to just ask and Shekhar Suman is with us, or everyone listening to you keenly. Mr. Jain, you've been former Additional Director General of Police of the state of Maharashtra. You know, how is it possible that a person is killed and then you reverse engineer a story? Question one. Question two, there were injuries here too. Were they ante-mortem or post-mortem? Question number three, the ligature mark around the neck in Sushant's case also does not match. It's O-shaped. It's not of hanging, right? So strangulation raises presumption of homicide. You can't strangulate yourself. You can hang yourself, but you can't strangulate yourself, right? These are serious questions.
There are 2-3 things, Arnab, I would like to specify.
Yeah, and also, in this case, she was hit with a blunt object, right? As far as, and please do not say Jia's case is different from this. You are readily buying one version and you're fighting to keep your version.
No,
Isn't that the case? Let's have them on both sides. Rabia, the similarity I find here is in the Jia case, and I would like Rabia on air with the former cop. In Jia's case also, you decide what happened to Jia and then you reverse engineer the whole thing. In Jia's case, they hired a private forensic expert who said that the hanging was staged. Who is going to hire a private forensic expert in this case? Mr. Jain?
Asking me or you asking?
I'm asking you.
See,
I'm asking. I'm not asking you. The whole country is asking you.
See, my only submission in the entire thing is that in the case of Zia Khan, there was a post-mortem report which said there are blunt injury marks on her body, which have been caused by a blunt object. So that means the post-mortem report has not told any lies. It was for the investigating officer to find out as to how these injuries were caused and then construct the entire story about the accused and all. If it was not done, it is a gross mistake on the part of the investigating officer.
No, that's all you have to say. No, 1 minute. Just hold on. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. I want to absorb the moment. I want to absorb the moment. I want to absorb the moment. My viewers want to absorb the moment that there are parents of one of the brightest actors, a remarkable talent who at a very young age made a mark starring opposite the biggest stars and was seen to be a sensational talent. She's obviously been killed. She was hit with a blunt object. And today you come on air and you tell me that if we still call it suicide, if it was not done, we are sorry, let's move on with it. That's what they will say, Shekhar. That's what they will say in the case of Sushant 5 years from now. We are sorry, but let's get on with it.
If somebody has done a wrong, if somebody has not done his job properly,
not done their job properly. That's all you'd say.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Not done their job properly. There's no justice. Swapnil, you heard that.
Investigation.
You heard that, Swapnil.
Investigating officer.
Bizarre.
Investigation is the job of an investigating.
That's what the police says later.
Statement that you need to make, Mr. Jain. You can't make such kind of statements. This is sorry, Mr. Jain. You cannot make this statement. You cannot make this statement, Mr. Jain. You cannot make this statement. It is very, very casual statement to make. That sorry, we made a mistake.
If
it is a question of homicide, then you better need to.
Committed by somebody. Listen to me. If an investigation has not been carried out properly,
that's fine. That you can't.
I want you to be sensitive. Jia's parents in the middle. 1 minute. I just want to say one thing. I want to say one thing, Mr. Jain. Now we are going to go deep. No, Mr. Jain. We are going to go deep. I regret. We must, viewers. I make a request to you. Please put the pressure. The Mumbai police wants to do a cover up here, and I want to tell you also. I don't trust the Mumbai police one bit. I don't trust
See,
the
in this
Mumbai
case, in
police
Zia
one
Khan's
bit.
case,
I'll
the
tell
case
you
was
why.
transferred to
Because
CBI.
the top
What happened
officers of
after
the Mumbai police are constantly partying with the same members of the Bollywood lobby. And when a famous film star was found absconding, a top Mumbai police officer was seen coming out of a nightclub after partying with the same actor. I don't trust the Mumbai police. I don't trust the Mumbai police because in the Zia Khan case, 1 minute, I will speak now and you will be quiet. I was quiet this while. In the Zia Khan case, you know she had injury marks on her lower lip. I regret not having fought for you, Rabia. I wish I had more. But from what I read, there were injury marks on her lower lip. And you know what the Mumbai police said, your Mumbai police said? They said, oh, nothing. It was friction with her teeth during suicide. She hurt herself. They said that.
Arnab ji, see, the case was subsequently handed over to CBI.
Yeah, Seema wants to say something. Seema, boliye.
Stopping Mr. Jain from reopening Zia Khan's case?
Reopen the Zia Khan case.
See, the case has already gone to the High Court.
Yes, Seema.
Whatever orders the High Court had to give, the High Court has to
the investigation officer.
Every year, Bollywood industry organize the program Umang. कार्यक्रम उमंग अगर ये उमंग कार्यक्रम एवरी ईयर मुंबई पुलिस को अप्रिशिएट करने के लिए बॉलीवुड इंडस्ट्री अगर ऑर्गेनाइज करती है तो वो किस आधार पे ये मुंबई पुलिस के जो संजय बार जो कमिश्नर हैं वो वहां पर उस कार्यक्रम को अटेंड करते हैं उसके बाद ये कोई भी पर्सन कैसे कह सकता है कि वो फ्री एंड फेयर इन्वेस्टिगेशन कराएंगे क्योंकि सबसे बड़ा कारण ये है कि मुंबई पुलिस ऑब्लाइज्ड है मुंबई पुलिस ऑब्लाइज्ड है कि जिन लोगों पर एलिगेशन लग रहा है जिन लोगों पर एलिगेशन लग रहा है by the film industry, it is organized by Mumbai police. क्या उनको वो समन जारी करेंगे?
Which I want to tell you one thing. I want to tell you one thing. Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Does the Mumbai police pay the market fees for these actors for their performances in your award?
No, it doesn't.
So you get it free. So 1 minute. So what if I were to tell you, I don't trust you? I don't trust you because the actors... Just wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah. The actors and the Bollywood industry wants your protection. And in exchange for your protection, they dance for you. And you protect them. You don't have the objectivity to investigate them. You don't have the object. Now explain to me. What if I were to tell you? What if I were to tell you the same lobby stopped you from investigating Zia Khan or Diva Bharti?
This function, Arnab, has been going on for the last 50 years.
I don't care how long it's been going on. It shows conflict of interest. It shows conflict of interest. Does Aditya Chopra participate in it? Do people associated to his banner participate in it? Does Karan Johar participate in it? Do people associated with his banner participate in it?
No, many people.
Does Mahesh Bhatt participate in it? Do people associated with the Mahesh Bhatt banner participate in it? Then you don't have the objectivity to investigate the case because you are investigating people who you are colluding with. You are already, there's a conflict of interest here. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Hand the case over. Hand the case over.
Absolutely, yes.
Hand the case over. This is rubbish. Rubbish.
See, Arnab, this is
rubbish
of interest because
and tell me if I can prove that a particular
Arnab,
officer now serving 1 minute.
Team.
No, 1 minute. Now let me speak the truth. If I were to show you pictures that a particular officer very high up in the Mumbai police now serving came out of a party with a film star who was quote-unquote missing, nowhere to be found. Will you then also say, no, let the same officer investigate this case?
No, I certainly would not say that.
No, then if you would not say that, then I won't say that to hand over. We don't trust the Mumbai police. Hand over the case. Hand over the case. Hand over the case. Hand over the case. Reopen the Zia Khan case. Reopen the Zia Khan case. Reopen the investigation in the case. Reopen that investigation.
Arnab, your demand for a CBI inquiry.
It's not about CBI inquiry.
Zia Khan's matter also, the matter was handed over from Mumbai police to CBI.
That was foul play.
And still the conclusion was the same.
There was foul play in that case.
You're just blaming the Mumbai police.
Because you have not lost someone, so you don't have the right to be patronizing.
In this matter of Sushant's...
you don't have the right to be patronizing. You know, you should understand from the point of view of those who have lost their family member and not got justice. So be quiet.
No.
So be quiet. So be quiet. Now my question here is, Sham Keswani is on the debate. Sham Keswani is unfortunate. And somebody dies, you say unfortunate. Unfortunate we messed up. Unfortunate we covered up. Unfortunate that we have a conflict of interest with Bollywood. Unfortunate that the same. How can you have an industry perform free at your events? How can you have an whole industry? Every actor, every director, the entire industry comes out for only the Mumbai police because they want their protection.
Suicide. How can you
so that you can do this, and then tomorrow, how do I know if there's a drugs party, whether it will be investigated? Tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow if there is a drugs party, tomorrow if there is a drugs party, be quiet. Tomorrow if there's a narcotics party, tomorrow if there is a murder in Bollywood, tomorrow if there's a narcotics being used by Bollywood stars, you think the same Mumbai police will investigate them after having taken a free service from them? Mr. Jain, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are under national scrutiny now.
There are so many actors who can.
You are under national scrutiny. I am warning you. I am warning you in this case. I am warning you, don't cover up the case. I am warning you, don't cover up the case. And I want to ask you, Mr. Jain and Sham Keswani, both of you. Tell me one thing. Tell me one thing now. Let's calm down. Okay. It's just that Jia's parents, when they spoke up, I got angry. Now be quiet. One thing. Mr. Keswani. Sushant Singh Rajput lived in his Bandra West apartment with 2 cooks and 1 housekeeper. Why was the version of these people taken as the last word? Why were they not treated as suspects?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That could have been done by the police.
So I am not the Mumbai Police Commissioner.
Why they haven't done?
I am the Editor-in-Chief of Republic.
See?
I am asking you. Am I the Mumbai Police Commissioner? It's logical, it applies to me. These people should be treated as suspects.
Correct.
Yeah, should have.
Should have का क्या है? So you are the criminal lawyer. I'm just a journalist.
Closest to the person who's died. They are the biggest suspects.
Okay. Second question. Why is the statement of the house help being taken then at face value? The house help is saying, oh, he was depressed. But he's jogging all around Bandra. He's gone PlayStation, he's partying, he's taking care of his health. He does push-ups with one hand. He's planning the best work of his life. Right? Best work of his life. And according to a statement to the Mumbai Police, Rumi Jafri, director, has said that he had agreed to work on a film. He's looking at future prospects. But why do you believe he killed himself? Because the house help told you he was depressed. And by the way, I want to know from you, you're a great criminal lawyer, if someone commits suicide, do they commit suicide after having a glass of juice, carefully placing their medical reports on the side, their medicines on one side, and without a suicide note, a verbose man who loved to talk and write and communicate, commits suicide? Now, Mr. Keswani, who believes this except the Mumbai police? Tell me. Should I take a poll now, viewers? Okay, I put an online poll now. I put an online poll. Do you believe, 1 minute, I'm asking a poll now. Do you believe the Mumbai police is doing a shoddy job? Yes or no? Yes. Mr. Keswani, please.
Yeah, yes, they are doing a shoddy job. They ought to have investigated all the angles of the matter. But it seems that they have just taken it in their stride, that one more case of suicide. And that's about all, and close the whole investigation.
But that's sad. You can't do that. It's immoral. It's immoral. Shekhar, would you like to respond to that? Shekhar, would you like to respond to that? See what we are hearing on TV.
Have you seen the case diary? Whether they are...
Shekhar, are you hearing this?
Yes,
What did you say, Shekhar?
I'm totally aghast at listening to Jia Khan's case, etc. Everything. I mean, if you have 18 questions, those are like gaping loopholes. I mean, you don't have to be Hercule Poirot to know what has happened. It's there for everyone to see. Then why can't the police see that? What all of us are saying. I mean, you have to just join the dots and see that it's a clear case, clear-cut case of murder. Why can't they accept that? Or why can't they see that? And if they are not proficient enough, if they are not capable enough, then hand it over to the CBI for God's sakes, yeah? I mean, and I don't think that this even warrants a debate. All of us should just ask for a CBI inquiry, get it done and get it over with.
Yeah.
Well, we are then wasting time and giving them all this time to procrastinate and just sort of eliminate all the evidences. Why are we waiting so long?
I seriously don't know why, because I'd like to go back to Jia's parents. And to both of you, I'd like to ask you, first of all, it must be painful and difficult in this case. I'm going to make a demand that the investigation should be opened, but how has this been for you since you've been watching this from afar from London? How has this been for you, to both of you?
Well, when I heard about Sushant, it instantly, I said, no, it is not suicide, it is a murder. Because that's the first instinct I had. And then when I saw the picture, there were so many similarities. Same scene, similar situations, similar kind of injuries, and, similar prima facie, and police doing the same things. They don't come to collect evidence, they come to destroy evidence. And they take whatever they want so that they can destroy it and close the scene. Now, even our case went to CBI because of so many evidences we showed to the High Court. And CBI got under pressure because it's in Mumbai. I went to the head of the CBI and complained and told them exactly what was happening in Mumbai. So the head of the CBI questioned the Mumbai CBI officer and said that, did you file a premature charge sheet? Where is the ligature? Why the mobiles are not sent to FBI? She was an American citizen. Why all these questions were raised in the meeting? The meeting that was for half an hour went for 6 hours. And I have handed over to them 300 pages of international panel's review on Juhu police and CBI's charge sheet. The discrepancies that are there in both the charge sheets, till today, the cause of Jia's death has never been established, and that has been internationally endorsed. In that, I can share that panel report with Ishkaran.
I would like you to share what you can with us and the Republic team.
Yes, please. Yes.
I don't know how much we can do, but yeah. I assure you both, we will go as far as we can for this.
Arnabji, that is a holy grail of our case. That panel report is a holy grail of our case, and that case, you can see, will help Sushant because it is the absolutely similar pattern.
I promise you, today on television, we will do our best to investigate this.
Thank you so much.
And Shekhar and everyone, I want to thank you very much for joining me as well, viewers. We must not let this campaign falter till we find justice. I thank you all very much for now. Thank you very much. On the other side, viewers, 2 sharp political debates in a few minutes.